Tens of thousands of dock workers from Maine to Texas are on strike. Though the picketing is miles from the North Country, you could feel the effects within a matter of days. To explain, we turn to 7 News reporter Lexi Bruning.
Work continues in the yard at White's Lumber, but behind the scenes, suppliers to the family-owned business are on alert as a nationwide strike begins.
5-day strike could lead to delays up to 5 weeks.
No contract! No work!
From Texas to Maine, around 45,000 dock workers are going on strike, asking for higher wages and a fair contract that doesn't allow automation of their jobs. The International Longshoremen's Association's contract expired at midnight, marking the union's first strike since 1977.
It's going to be a big effect depending on how long this goes on.
Marshall Weir with Jefferson County Economic Development says depending on how long the strike lasts, local manufacturers and businesses could have issues getting materials, meaning higher prices. He says big box retail stores and grocery stores will likely feel the effects first.
That's where you might start to see potentially fruit that would expire over the course of the strike.
As far as the lumber goes at White's, the store is safe in that department.
Our lumber that we turn on utilize either comes from majority of it from Eastern Canada or from the United States.
While product in the lumber yard is safe, White says there are some products here on the store shelves that could be affected.
We've been receiving emails and phone calls from suppliers just keeping us informed to do not worry. They have adequate supplies. Their trucks are still coming as they should.
White says suppliers have been proactive, ordering more product like nails and some paints in preparation for the strike. Meanwhile, dock workers at the Port of Montreal have also started a 3-day strike. Lexi Bruning, 7 News.